My name is Madison Foster, and what happened to me still feels unbelievable. All I wanted was $99. It wasn't for me, it was for my mother's heart medicine, something she needed urgently. I walked into the bank that Tuesday morning, tired, wearing my old jeans and a faded t-shirt, thinking it would be a simple withdrawal. But the moment my sister Victoria, the branch manager, saw me, she didn't see her own blood. Her sister, she saw someone she could mock. In front of customers and staff, she called me a beggar and ordered security to remove me. I stood there humiliated, wishing the floor would swallow me whole. But what Victoria didn't know was that only 3 days earlier, our father had passed away, leaving me something far more powerful than she could ever imagine. At that moment, I was just the sister asking for $99. But within minutes, I would return to that very same bank not as a customer, not as the girl she looked down on, but as the new owner of everything she thought she controlled. The line at the bank felt endless, and with every step closer to the counter, my heart pounded harder. I kept thinking about Mom's medicine, about how she had already been cutting her pills in half just to make them last. I wasn't here for luxury. I wasn't here to borrow money. I only needed $99 from my own account. But when the teller typed in my information, she suddenly froze and made a call. That's when Victoria appeared, her heels clicking on the marble floor, her perfect suit and confident smile making heads turn. She didn't pull me aside quietly. Instead, she made a show of it. Loud enough for everyone to hear, she mocked me for asking for such a small amount. She laughed about my work as a freelance designer, called me irresponsible, and even hinted that I was taking advantage of our grieving mother. Every word cut deeper, and every customer's stare felt heavier. It wasn't just a withdrawal anymore, it had become a public humiliation. To Victoria, $99 was nothing, but to me, it was everything at that moment. What she didn't know was that the very thing she mocked me for was about to become the reason her world turned upside down. Just as Victoria's words echoed across the bank, my phone buzzed with a call from our lawyer, Mr. Thornton. Within minutes, he arrived with 2 more men in sharp suits, and suddenly the atmosphere in the bank shifted. Everyone turned to watch as the lawyers placed a leather briefcase on the desk and opened it with care. Victoria's confident smile faltered for the first time when she realized this wasn't tea about me being a beggar. These men weren't here for her, they were here for me. In front of the customers, the staff, and even the CEO of the bank, the truth was revealed. Our father had left me the majority of Prosperity Financial, 68% of the shares worth over $2.8 billion. The room fell silent as the words sank in. The sister she had laughed at, the one she had humiliated for asking $99, was now her boss, the true owner of the bank. Victoria's face drained of color, and the arrogance she wore like armor cracked wide open. For the first time, she realized she wasn't the one in control anymore. The silence in the bank didn't last long. Whispers filled the air, and all eyes turned to Victoria. The same sister who had once looked down on me as irresponsible was suddenly exposed as a fraud in front of everyone she once commanded. Her voice cracked as she begged me not to fire her, tears smudging her perfect makeup. For a moment, I just looked at her, this powerful woman brought to her knees not by money, but by her own greed. I ordered her suspension effective immediately, and security escorted her away. The customers and employees who had once stayed quiet now watched justice unfold, their respect shifting in a way Victoria had never expected. In that moment, I wasn't just her sister, I was her boss, and I carried the power to rebuild what she had broken. The audit confirmed what my father had feared. Victoria had stolen over $3 million from the very bank she claimed to protect. The news spread quickly, and soon she was arrested, facing the consequences of her choices. It was painful to watch my own sister fall so far, but I knew it wasn't my doing, it was hers. Meanwhile, I stepped into my new role as majority shareholder, determined to run the bank with fairness and integrity. I didn't seek revenge. Instead, I focused on creating a better future. I framed the withdrawal slip for $99 and hung it in my office, a reminder that even the smallest injustice can change everything. I set up a foundation in my father's name to teach financial literacy, supported employees who had once been silenced by fear, and promised that no one in our bank would ever be treated the way I had been that day. As for Victoria, prison humbled her. She began to write me letters, admitting her mistakes and asking for forgiveness. I visited her, not as her enemy but as her sister, because family, even when broken, still matters. And as I looked back, I realized that my story was never just about money, it was about dignity, about standing tall even when others tried to tear you down. That $99 was small, but it revealed something priceless. The true measure of worth is not in wealth, but in character. So in the end, my sister mocked me for asking $99, but what she never expected was that I would return as her boss, holding more power than she ever imagined. Life has a way of turning tables when you least expect it. What started as humiliation became the beginning of justice, change, and even healing. Today, I don't measure success by billions in the bank, but by the way people are treated with respect, dignity, and kindness. That is what truly matters. And to anyone listening who has ever been underestimated, mocked, or treated as if they were nothing, remember this: your value is not decided by money, job titles, or appearances. Your worth is in your character, in the way you stand up when life pushes you down. For me, $99 turned into $2.8 billion, but the real victory was proving that no one, not even family, can take away your dignity unless you let them.